All right, so funny story. I've been here all night. I slept at the bus stop because Christians just don't want to be Christians. They don't really know what it is to be a true sacrifice. And I think that's what it is. They have a lot of doctrines. They can recite them, they can be kind and all this kind of stuff until you say something that's real, and then they might take their kindness away. But, you know, to lay down your life for someone, that that's the seed of Messiah. So there were only 12 disciples, right? And so I think this is where the misunderstanding is coming in because, excuse me, 12 disciples is not a lot of people. There's 144,000 that wash their robes in the blood of the Lamb. 144,000 out of billions of people, not a lot of people. So why do we assume that the whole church is about to inherit the kingdom of heaven when they do what he tells them not to do and don't do what he tells them to do? He said, "Those who love me keep my commandments." So I was reading Matthew 25 yesterday, and it talks about how this person was sick, and you came and you visited them, and in prison, and you visited them, and they were hungry, and you gave them food. And I've even felt it in myself where it's like, well, I'm afraid to give anything because you're worried about the future. And you can almost chalk this up to thinking that this is God speaking when it's not God speaking, right? Now, there are some times where I felt like God was like, okay, not that person, but this person, because, whatever it is behind the situation. But other times, a person really is like submitted to God, and you're denying them, you know, the food and the housing and the healing and whatever it is because you're so focused on your life. So it means that you have not laid down your life for God. You have not become a living sacrifice. Therefore, you're not truly a disciple, all right? You're not truly of the seed of Abraham. I'm talking about the spiritual seed, okay? You're not. You're not. And so a lot of people, they want to start these ministries and all this kind of stuff, but they're not of the seed. They're not chosen, and many of them have not even been called. That's what's crazy about the situation. So I was left out here at the bus stop, all right, and I was upset because I'm like, you see that I'm a missionary, you see that I'm out here doing the work of God. Why would you not offer me a place to stay for the night? Why would you not do that? And so I slept out here. Thank God it's not super cold. I had a little like beach sheet that I used as a cover. Nobody bothered me. I was praying to God that nobody would bother me. Nobody bothered me. Praise God. And then I got up at like 7 this morning, and there was this dude and the girl came darting through the parking lot in their car, right? I said, what is going on here? Like, what? You about to roll up and try to steal somebody? It ain't going down. But they came and they drove around, and he's like, is this the Greyhound bus stop? And I'm like, yeah, this is it. And he's like, I went all the way up north. And I was like, yeah, that's where they put the bus stop originally for me too. But thank God the prior bus dropped me off here. So now I know where it is. And so I guess they went to a couple places. So he was upset. Then he left. I'm like, why are you leaving if your bus is coming at 7:30? It's in like 10 minutes. But he left, and then they came back. And then maybe they went to go get his stuff because he dropped off his stuff. And then I said, you know, no, this is what he said. He said, "Thank God you were here because I had no idea where this bus stop was." And I said, "Well, a lot of times God will do that. You know, I'll say, I don't know where this is. And then there'll be somebody there at that point that I'm like, okay, thank you, Lord. Now I know." I said, "That's how God works." And then I told him about my situation in Chattanooga. So I showed up at this. They got the bus stop at a gas station, man. And it's like, I just don't know what these people are doing. But anyway, um, I was nervous because the way that they got this bus stop in Georgia, like 20 minutes south of Chattanooga, just doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, I feel like y'all out here doing this on purpose. Like, y'all want people to get kidnapped or something. Because if you even try to walk that, you're walking the freeway, that's dangerous. All right, it's the middle of the night. It don't even make sense to me. But I said, all right, well, let me try to get an Uber. Try to get an Uber, try to get a Lyft. They kept denying my ride. And so I said, well, let me pray. So I started praying. And this guy, I don't know if he was the owner of the quickie shop or what, but he comes out. He looks at me. He's like, your train is coming. And goes back in. And then I realize this train is going off. And as soon as he said that, somebody picks up my Uber and my Lyft. So I told the guy that story. I said, Jeremiah 29:11, he has a plan for your life, you know. And then he starts telling me about how his fiance passed away like two weeks ago. And he was in the hospital and there was all these people there. And I guess there was something going on with one of their family members. And so he said he had met all these people from this family, and I guess what happened was he found one of the guy's wallets and he gave it back to him. And he had kept seeing them like all the week that he was there in the hospital. Well, it turns out the guy with the wallet, lost wallet, was actually Reverend. And so he said he's been going to these people's church for the last 2 weeks. And then he said he was on his way back to Oklahoma. I literally was just talking about Tulsa yesterday with someone and how lovely it was because there's a cafe here called the Gathering Cafe. And in Tulsa, there's this beautiful lodge that was created by the man that created Central Park. It's called the Gathering Place. And Tulsa is a beautiful place. I told him, like, God had me drive all the way there from Ohio just to give me boot camp. I guess I needed to be separate, but also Tulsa is special. It's special. All right. People show up from these churches and they pray for people, all this kind of stuff. And at that gathering place, they have a beautiful botanical garden that just like, I don't know. I went to the Dallas Botanical Garden. I was like, why am I paying $20 for this stupid botanical garden? And then I show up to this Tulsa one, and I'm like, this is everything that I was looking for, and it was free, right? And that lodge, you can stay in the lodge all day until like 9 o'clock at night. It was just such a great time being in Tulsa. It's a beautiful, beautiful city. Other than when tornado season comes, the mug is kind of scary around September. But I was telling him about that. He said, that's where I'm headed. My kids are out there. And he said, I need my kids right now. My mom died a week before. I think he said a week or maybe a year before that his fiance died, right? And so he said, I'm going through it. He said, I need my kids. I'm like, yeah, and they need you too. And I felt that was led by the Spirit. They need you too, you know, because sometimes we can be out here doing whatever and we need to be around their kids. But I feel like I was supposed to be at this bus stop this morning just to be an encouragement to that man. And although I do think that they were supposed to offer me a place to stay, it still would have been that I would have been here by 7 something so that I can be of encouragement to this man. Because God is pushing him in his direction. So there's no coincidences with God. He is the great orchestrator. If you're obedient, and even sometimes when you're not obedient, God will still move all these putting pieces around in order to get you to where you are supposed to be. So I told him too about my boot camp experience, how God wanted me to make it to like 83rd or 82nd Street or whatever it was. And I thought it was going to be easy. It wasn't easy because the premise of it, it was like a game. You cannot think a thought that's not of me, he said. You can't think of a sinful thought. And every time you do, you got to turn around. And I swear to God, I had to turn around 100 times. I finally made it to 80 whatever street at night, like 9 o'clock at night. It makes you realize how dirty your mind is. But I also told him, like, he had me drive up to this fence and there was a vine across it. And, like, to be honest, lately I have not been a friend of white people. And it's not necessarily because they're white, it's because of their culture, right? And it's not all white people either. But you have to be careful not to fall into racism. So that was the thing with me. I had a racist mindset against these folks. And so he had me drive up to this fence and there was a vine across it. And he said, some of these white folks are mine and you're persecuting my vine. And as soon as he said that, it was like my heart was convicted. And then this little key pops up on my phone. I've never seen that key in my life come up on the phone. So I know it was God. But that's the thing. He gives you the keys to heaven. So I told this man, you can't be racist and go to heaven. So I don't know if God wanted me to tell him that for a purpose, because I think everybody might be a little bit racist. I think it says that in the Team America movie. But, you know, racism is something that draws you back. It's a burden on your heart, to be honest. And so we have to let it go fully and completely. And that's what he was doing for me, an absolute boot camp. And I told him that. And after I told him that, the bus pulled up for him. And so he got on the bus and he left and he thanked me. And I said, I'm praying for you. Because there's no coincidences with God. There just isn't. He's orchestrating everything, and I have to constantly be reminded of that myself, because I think we make plans, and I'm the queen of planning, because I think plans make you feel comfortable, and you know, you hope to find some kind of joy and whatever out of it. But I'm just noticing, like, it don't work lately. It just doesn't work. Like, it don't work. I had a plan to go straight to Nashville. That didn't work. But look, if I had made it straight to Nashville, then I would have never had that conversation with this man to steer him to the right direction. So, and I think that's what it is to be a living sacrifice as well. You're sacrificing things in your life so other people can have life. I've sacrificed my time, my energy, whatever, so that this man could be directed in the right way. And there was a lady that I spoke to yesterday, and she sacrificed 45 minutes of her time to try to fill me with the word and the spirit and the truth, and it worked. It did. So, and she said something very important about how we have to help one another wherever we're at on this walk. And there's like a whole slew of people out there that need to be helped, that are lost, that are sheep, lost sheep. And so, yeah, we just got to keep working until the time of the rest. And I think it's actually time for rest for me. And she told me that. She's like, you gotta rest, man. And I'm like, I don't really know how to rest, to be honest. I'm not. Rest is not my middle name. It's not my middle name. Even traveling in these foreign countries, I'm like, all right, rest what? We gotta go see this. We gotta go see this. We gotta go see this. And it's like, number one, the rest ain't just sleep. It's literally going to God and praying to Him and these kinds of things. And so, look, I'm tired. But I've been praying to God to give me a place or a van again so I can just chill. Because I've been on the road since January. So pray for me too for that, please. And thank you. And y'all be blessed.